Well. We're back finally with another DuckTales analysis video, only this time it's the last one before we dive into the Season 2 trailer. This episode was basically a launchpad episode and it surprisingly was well put together. Of course there's some other things I want to mention, but let's play that intro. Starting off in this episode, we have Darkwing Duck within one of his episodes fighting off a masked villain after he nearly uses explosives to blow up a literal kitten orphanage. Yep. But thankfully, Darkwing, however, manages to overcome the villain after tripping over some bombs in a linear pattern. I mean, seriously, you couldn't just have turned around? It's in a freaking line! But I guess the main point of his character is that he's all goofy and gets beat up a bunch, but can still recover after almost anything. Once Darkwing uncovers the mask, it is revealed that he was the villain all along, or at least a doppelganger of his. And this is the perfect foreshadowing for what's to happen later on in this episode, so just remember that. Plus, I just love how they purposely show the two footages not even matching up with one another. It just proves to show just how under budget the show in this universe was, or at least how very little amount of support was given towards the show and its ratings. As the camera pans out, we notice a small crowd including Dewey and Launchpad watching the last bits of the scene. And the show was so underrated that the series' main actor had to borrow the Ottoman Empire's building and equipment for promoting his potential show reboot. It's also weird that we weren't able to witness Miss Beakley here for the event. She was the one who so desperately wanted Darkwing Duck to return after seeing this finale before the show suddenly vanished. Sure, later on in this episode we do find out that McDuck decides to help somehow film a movie for Darkwing, but there was no indication that it was her. And most of all, she was asking for the story to be resolved, not dragged out even more by releasing a random film.
Ah, cool! A big budget reboot of a thing I loved as a kid! Those are always great!
Okay, I edited that in there, but I swear, Disney has got to be laughing at themselves at this point. Anyways, besides just Launchpad, another fan shows up to the event and is practically someone who looks up to Darkwing as an idol of hope and inspiration. So obviously meeting the actor that portrays his character was an honor to him, even after witnessing his bad side after not appreciating the small fans that he did acquire in the end. As it turns out, Dewey finds out that Darkwing Duck is becoming more popular on the internet due to a film adaptation based on the series. Once again, Scrooge is the one responsible for funding the film with the help of a British director who pretty much screws over the Darkwing originality.
You can't just flap around in the night, you'll terrify people! It's too dangerous!
Darkwing. First Darkness. This film not suitable for children.
That is not Darkwing Duck! DW never heard innocent people or set the city on fire!
But are we all not both the heroes and the villains of our own story?
What? What?
And yes, this is without a shadow of a doubt a reference to the well-known Dark Knight trilogy. I mean, the title of this episode is The Duck Knight Returns. We also find out that instead of using the original Darkwing actor, the new fan from before has already taken the role. And despite Jim Starling, the original actor for Darkwing Duck's jealousy towards him, it turns out that the new actor is genuinely a kind person. Plus, his motivation for wanting to play as Darkwing Duck was in order to hopefully inspire some other young audiences much like himself when he was younger and had a bullying issue. To him, Darkwing taught him to keep getting back up no matter what and to face dangerous situations head on. Sadly, even after knowing all of this, Jim Starling still decides to attempt to sabotage his acting opportunity, since Launchpad later realizes just how great of a person he truly was. Now, as for the fun facts, Jim Cummings voice acts for both the original 1991 Darkwing and the retired actor in this episode. So just seeing the old voice actor for Darkwing and the new one fight against each other as part of the script makes the experience even more interesting.
I am Darkwing Duck! No, I am!
So practically when you think about it, it's the old voice actor pretty much passing the torch over to the new voice actor, only in a cartoony way. The new voice actor is named Chris Diamantopoulos, but yet the actual identity of his version of Darkwing Duck is and was Drake Mallard.
Drake Mallard? Never heard of you.
However, plot twist, Jim Starling was just a made-up name for this particular episode. Also, don't you just love the simplicity of the given character names? After both actors fight on stage, Jim is the one who saves both Launchpad and Drake from a hazardous explosion. An explosion that causes Drake to feel somewhat guilty, but is encouraged by Launchpad to keep moving forward. He also somehow convinces Drake to literally become Darkwing Duck, considering his skills in martial arts and explaining just how much better he is than Gizmo Duck. Which I don't blame him for, because Gizmo Duck has a lot of abilities, but yet Fenton hasn't really proved himself as useful in that suit yet, in my opinion. I guess he just needs some training. The episode ends with Jim Starling revealed to be alive, only to soon become the villain after accusing Drake of faking the whole thing in order to replace him, mainly because it was the universe's way of recreating Negaduck. They even had him using a chainsaw earlier in the episode as a weapon like the original one as well, thanks to Dewey calling in chainsaw jugglers to the scene. However, in the original version, Negaduck was the antagonist who was the evil counterpart of Darkwing from another parallel universe. It was due to the villain Megavolt's Tron Splitter that creates the character, which is why he is another person referenced within the episode, hinting the correlation.
An epic showdown between Darkwing Duck and the villainous villain Megavolt.
Question.
Who has a mustache?
Question rescinded.
Now, I personally don't believe that we'll be seeing Negaduck before the end of this season, unless he's willing to fight in the finale against Darkwing. But honestly, this just seems to be mainly leaning towards the villains that we've already grown accustomed to. I could be wrong on the other hand. But anyways, we finally made it to the end until September 3rd, and I'll do my best to finish my Season 2 promo analysis ASAP. So without further ado, I will see you all till then. Peace!